And it's live, baby. Welcome to the LFC Transfer Room, YouTube / Twitter / Facebook. And we have won a football match, ladies and gentlemen. Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 0. I'm joined by Mr. Jack Edwards and the main man down below me. He's been predicting a Curtis Jones goal since the end of time. But here he is. Today is finally the day. Mr. Matty, how are you, mate?
I'm made up. I'm absolutely made up.
Absolutely. I can imagine. And Jack is here with us as well, going to be offering some expert insight. Being honest, he hasn't watched too much of the game, but he's just going to be here.
How you going to expose me like that, Chris? I watched every man. I saw my lovely man, Nabby, get out there, and I cannot be happier. Nabby,
yeah. He's providing us moral support here. Everyone get commenting. What do you think of today's game? Who's your man of the match? What's your star performances? What are your thoughts for the future? We'll start off first though, Matty. Give us your analysis and thoughts on the game, mate.
I thought it was a really good game even from the start. And I mean, I know in the first game, Ramsdale decided he was Ray Clements, but other than that, we were absolutely ruthless. I think we played well. It seems like we changed our formation a bit. It looked like Robbo was playing like a wing back with Salah, Trent in the back three. Curtis Jones is world class, been saying it for weeks, and he ran the show again. Man of the match performance. He is the future captain of Liverpool Football Club in my eyes. He's that good.
Yeah. Curtis or Trent for the next captain?
Curtis.
We'll talk about it again, but I mean, what a fantastic performance, I think, from start to finish. Yes, we didn't have some of the rub of the green in the first half, but when we did have the chances, we should have taken them. Roberto Firmino, especially, a lot of talk about him being finished, and I know that that his goal today is going to be ruled down as an own goal. But at the end of the day, he did improve throughout the game. I thought Sadio Mane was really impressive today, dropping in between the lines, passing, creating room for others like Bobby does, and that shape. I just think. It's not a bad thing to copy Man City. They're top of the league, all right. And Trent and Robertson playing Robertson and Salah playing a bit like Cancelo and Walker is not a bad thing. So let's have a look at some of the comments. Should Curtis Jones be a regular star in every game? I believe he is now, Dan. I think he is now.
Rightfully so. He shouldn't ever be taken out, ever.
No. What about you, Jack? What do you think about CJ?
I think he's very interesting for me because I definitely agree with you that he's a future captain of this club. But I just wonder, compared to Keita, if he's back fit, I don't think he's at the level of Keita right now.
No, he's better.
You think he's better?
Yeah.
I think Thiago's the one to drop out personally, but that's the thing. Being not able to decide your first three midfield is very, very good. We have a comment here from Ollie saying, "Well done, Adrian." I would say that he did put me on the edge of my seat a couple of times.
I mean, that's Adrian for you, isn't it? He kind of stole what I was going to mention. Adrian is never going to be Alisson, and we needed him to step up.
Well,
Alisson was the loss of his father, so it was huge that he was able to show up and provide enough confidence and security between the sticks that we didn't concede a goal. So fundamentally, can't complain too much.
Well, and can we just say that the commentator on Sky Sports in the UK thought Adrian was Alisson? So whoever he is, come on. Do we need a Wijnaldum replacement with Jones at the team?
100%. Curtis Jones doesn't play holding. He plays more attacking. Curtis Jones has been playing more holding recently. 100%. I still think we need the replacements.
Yes, 100%. They're completely different players. When Jones is put in that Wijnaldum role, he's not as effective and he's limited in what he can do when he's such a naturally talented human being. And I love it.
So, Matty, what is our best midfield three in your eyes? Keita's back fit, Henderson's fit, Fabinho's fit. Who's the midfield three? Does Curtis get in that?
Fabinho, Henderson, Jones.
Oh, I like it. But there's options for rotation in different games. That's the thing. You can't have a defined midfield three in 2021. That's
right. I mean, if I had my own way, I probably would start Fabinho, Kaiser, Jones, but Henderson's the captain, isn't he? So he's going to start. But I wouldn't take Curtis Jones out that team for no man. Not a chance.
It is definitely. That's a very good point for me.
And Ben was on post-match. Ben was on post-match for Leipzig as well, and we won that game. So. Exactly. You know what? Maybe it's time. Ben on everything.
Forever locked on the feet. No.
Get more Ben Boschak in your life. That's the way forward. Keep your comments coming in on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as well.
I want to agree with you, Matty. I think what Jones does, he's a great offensive influence, especially he scored a goal today, which is the best offensive influence you can have in the sport. But I think in comparison to Thiago, I think he does cover the fullbacks a bit better than he does. I think he's a bit more ingrained in the system, which that's the only thing I'll be in agreement with you on your midfield trio is that Jones, I think, does fit this midfield three very, very well. Could he play in a midfield pivot too? I don't know.
However, if the team was fully fit, you don't really need to cover your centre backs that much when you've got Virgil van Dijk.
That's true. That's very true as well.
Exactly. We won't get on too much. Who was your man of the match today, boys? Apart from Jones, we'll go Matty because we know that that's your go-to.
Sadio Mane.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, what do you think, Jack? From your watching?
Naby Keita.
Naby lad. Naby lad.
The man
yes, lad.
And he just grip, the talent. The team's just better, fundamentally. I see this comment. What I liked was there were center backs, playing center backs. That I think was a fundamental improvement. And we did have Maldini reborn in Phillips.
I thought Kabak looked a little bit shaky, especially when he passed the ball in his own net. But in some situations, he let McBurney get goal side of him and stuff like that. But overall, he got a lot of slander in one of my group chats. I don't think he was that bad.
I don't think he was that bad. And I know he was watching the ball a few times, but he done it that often? Was that just not smart? His way of defending, where he'll let him get through and then chase him and get it off him that way.
Fair enough. Curtis Jones, well in. What a great lad. And to have that, and obviously for Alisson to see that today, I think he'll be very, very happy and very motivated to see the team performing, even in his absence. Even with that clowning goal, because he is a clown. One person I'd like to shout out actually, and the man I give a lot of slander to, is Spotify playlist Supremo, Genie Wijnaldum. Now he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be here, right? But I will say this now. But him and Jones in the system looked like they was like they could be a little bit more like themselves. You've seen Wijnaldum for Netherlands, and he's playing like out of this world. Like 20, like in his last 20 games for Netherlands, it's like 15 goals or whatever it is. I thought he was excellent today, and he looked like a lot more positive. He wasn't on the half turn towards his own goal, which is really, really positive to see. I don't know what you guys thought on Wijnaldum's performance.
I don't think he's that bad. I know you are his biggest fan, but I don't think he's that bad. I mean, I've seen reports that he wants to stay. I'd let him stay. He's good. He's a good squad player. I'd rather him be at Liverpool than because you just know he's going to go to Barcelona and play like he does at Holland. So I'd rather him stay at Liverpool.
I think the only reason he wants to stay is because Barcelona are in the mud and Messi's going. If I'm being brutally honest with you.
And Bayern are kind of out of money signing Upamecano. I mean, where else does he really go? Man City? I mean, Ben suggested an audacious idea. But no, I agree with you. I actually quite like Wijnaldum. I think that he does have the capacity to play in that Netherlands kind of style. But he doesn't for us because he's been forced to play as a defensive mid. So I don't know if he's better than our other options as an advanced midfielder with Fabinho, because I think we just have Jones, Thiago, Keita, Henderson are all better than him at that. But he's still very good. So I would definitely be happy to keep him around at the club. So I'm just glad that I'm just happy there's a win, guys.
He's too focused on his Spotify playlists. He's too focused. He loves his Spotify. That's why, mate. That's why. Crap. Anyway, we're moving on. I can't stand him. So, any more comments? Keep comments flowing in. Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 0. Nathaniel Phillips today, boys. Again, I don't think he looked out of place. He's rocking Matty's trim. So what do you reckon about him today?
I think he hasn't had a really bad performance.
Can you hear us, Matty? Matty's dipped. Okay, we'll remove him and we'll bring him back. Let's see if he's. Can you hear us now, Matty? Okay, I was saying that Nat Phillips' trim is rocking a bit like yours, mate.
He spent too much time with Thiago. Do you know what? Nat Phillips, his first few games, I got isolated him loads on my podcast, but I can't fault him. In recent weeks, every game he's come on, he's looked solid. In the derby, came on, looked solid. Couldn't say a bad word about him. Honestly, he looked like the leader at the back. I know Kabak's played, say, more senior level than Phillips, but couldn't fault him. Couldn't fault him at all.
I think that's just kind of his MO, isn't it? He's just, you can't fault him. He doesn't really put a foot wrong, but I don't know if he has that extra element that you see in the likes of, I think like likes of Van Dijk. I mean, you can't compare him to Van Dijk because you can't really compare anybody to Van Dijk. But
do you think he's similar to Carragher in a sense of he's not the best footballer, but his heart's always there?
That's fair.
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd definitely say that, and the fact that he always looks like he's prone to getting beaten for pace a little bit, but he has got very good reading for game. So who knows, and if he was playing alongside Virgil van Dijk, then maybe it's different. Maybe it's different.
Interested if he has a long-term future at this club, because I would assume he's lower in the pecking order than Davies, because I think Davies.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all.
At best, he's 5th choice next season when everyone's fit. So are we going to have Davies as a 6th choice center back? So I don't know. I'm interested.
I can see him getting sold in the summer. I don't think he's doing any harm to his value at the minute either. But like you said, when Gomez, Van Dijk, Matip, I think we'll probably buy Kabak. There's 4 ahead of him really, but I can't see him wanting to stay and being a 5th choice. And I think he could maybe go to a good Premier League side, maybe someone like your West Hams or your Wolves or something like that.
100%. So keep your comments coming in, please. We want to react to more of your comments. We love hearing from you, and I will. For those of you who are still here, I will be hula hooping in a minute, so don't you worry about that. We have been waiting for a long time for me to hula hoop, so it will happen.
Maybe actually, you may have hit the nail on the head there, Chris. Liverpool were so afraid to see you hula hoop that they said we're going to lose matches to just push it off. Push it off.
Mate, they just can't. They're just jealous of my hip action, boys. All right, I got some proper good tango hips, mate. Anyway, good news today. Naby Keita returned to the team off the bench. Looked lively when he came on as well. Where does he fit in the coming to the rest of the season? Does he start the next match against Chelsea?
If he's fit, I think he does. I am going to anger Matty here. I think he's our best midfielder. I think he is. When he's fit, he's sensational. I just think back to last season against Chelsea in that match. Had that banging goal. He's a very, very good player. And I love him. And I think hopefully he has a match like the one at Anfield last season in post-lockdown V2. So I hope he has that against Chelsea this Thursday.
The only thing I would say is Naby Keita plays one game. He's world class when he plays. World class. Probably is our best midfielder when he plays. But I wouldn't risk him at Chelsea. I'd keep that midfield free. Purely because I think the Leipzig game is going to be harder than people think it will be. And I'd rather keep him fit. That's only a week later. And the risk with Naby Keita is he plays against Chelsea and then he misses the rest of the season.
I think, though, you can't treat him like this guy who needs to be bubble wrapped for the rest of the year. He's had this fitness regime, and fundamentally, as much as I love Naby, if he can't get his fitness in shape this year, there's going to be questions on whether or not he has a long-term future here. Because Rodrigo De Paul, the rumors from Udinese are increasing there. Odegaard was linked to us for a bit. He'll be back at Madrid in the summer. And so I think if he can't maintain his fitness, then I think he's gone. And so for that reason, I think you have to test him. You can't just say, protect him. You need to play him in these tough matches. I think we need him against Chelsea. I think he'd be huge. I
don't think we buy a midfielder in the summer. I think we need to focus on buying a number 9 before we buy any midfielders this summer.
I agree with you on that, but I think we're going to buy a midfielder. I'm in agreement, but I think that the priorities up with people who actually make the decisions are a bit different.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, FSG getting bankrolled as well. We're going to be oil millionaires now, guys, obviously.
Red Bull.
No, but the likelihood of that is that of them spending ridiculous amount of money is not likely. But listen, I know number 9 is a priority. Centre-back's a priority as well, in my opinion. Still, even with the players that we've got, Matip's not reliable. Phillips is a little bit limited. Davis is limited, and I think Kabak's too raw at the moment. He is too raw to be relied upon so much, and he's got so much potential, Ozan Kabak, in my opinion. I think he's got very good aerial percentages. He's quite. When he gets going, he's quick. He takes a while to get going, but he is good. He's quick. So, those are the 2 priorities. Let us know the priorities in the comments section as well.
I just want to raise a point. I think this was a huge win for us ahead of that Chelsea game, because Chelsea, obviously, the draw with the snoozer against Man United and West Ham losing against Man City. Those are our top 4 rivals, which is as sad as it is to say that we're no longer competing with Man City. and Leicester as well, losing to Arsenal, up to Arsenal. Those were some huge results for us. So really, everyone who is our competition, above us and below us, with the exception of Everton, I don't believe we've played yet. Have they played this weekend?
Yeah,
Playing Southampton tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So
that's a guaranteed win then.
Tacky's injured, isn't he? So, I mean, if he's not injured, he's going to score a hat-trick.
That's what I like about the Minamino loan, is he can just pick up points against our rivals for us. He can double our ability to catch up on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Moving forward from that, where do you think a lot of people are calling for Bobby's head at halftime? For very good reason. I mean, he's 1-on-1 through on goal, and puts it straight at the keeper. I mean, just put it in the corner, lad. Anything like that, but or even lift the ball, but it was straight at Ramsdale. Do you think he has a long-term future at Liverpool Football Club? A, is it a first choice? And B, is that in a 9 or is it in a 10?
Matty, you go ahead.
I think he does. People have short memories who support Liverpool Football Club, and Roberto Firmino revolutionised Liverpool. He was our most important player for so many years. He links the play. He's world class. Whether he's a starter week in, week out anymore, I don't think so. But let's not forget this guy's barely been injured. He's played in the last 2.5 seasons, probably 95% of our games. He's probably just burnt out, and I do think he does need a spell on the sidelines, but selling him, definitely not, unless we're swapping him for Haaland at Dortmund, then I'd drive him to the airport. But other than that, no, I don't think we should sell him. I think he maybe drops back a bit deeper like he did at Hoffenheim before he came to Liverpool. I don't think he's a number 9 anymore.
I think I agree with him, the short-term memories to an extent. I just think the issue is when we're struggling for goals like we are recently, and you have a guy like Firmino, where it's tough to say about one of your forwards, your literal number 9, his job isn't to score goals. And I agree with that statement, but it hurts to say and it hurts to argue, because fundamentally you want a number 9 who you can trust to bury a chance in a match like one we had today, where it was scrappy, we weren't putting them home, our other players weren't firing. And to have Bobby, who was great at linking the play, as Sean says, but can't bury a chance, it does hurt. So I think it'd be interesting to have a guy like Haaland, who has a really good all-around game and is a lethal finisher, as well as 20 years old. So I hope we go all in on Haaland, and I would like to see him play as a 10, because he links the play phenomenally, and playing a bit deeper against a side like Sheffield, a side like Burnley, he can pull the strings, move defenders around, and he can have an impact. And there isn't as much of a burden on him to bury the chances, because he's not the guy up front. He's a guy a bit deeper. So I think a 10 is his future.
One thing that I want to say is that I had this exact conversation with my dad on the way to Birmingham yesterday. Okay, so when people judge Roberto Firmino against the likes of Harry Kane, or, I don't think any number 9s in the country, Callum Wilson, Danny Ings, Martial. But then if you put him in the comparison where he should, and then if you put Salah or Mane there, they're high. But then if you put him in comparison to wingers, traditional wingers, the likes of Wilfried Zaha or Nicola Pepe, he's top of the list. Now, that may be because he gets in better positions, but he also allows Salah and Mane to come inside and take those positions. So maybe we're judging him harshly. Yes, he can't finish his dinner at the moment, but maybe we are judging him a bit harshly on his outtake. Anything from that, boys?
Well, Bobby Firmino, although he's got number 9 on his back, he isn't a number 9. Just pulled his stats up. He's never scored more than 15 goals in a Premier League season for Liverpool. He scored 6 goals in 26 games this season. He only scored 9 goals last year and 12 goals the year before. So people expect Roberto Firmino to be some goal scorer, which he has never, ever been a goal scorer for Liverpool. He's always been the player who pulls defenders out of position, like you said, to allow Salah and Mane to cut in off the wings. His highest scoring season was in 2017-18, where he got 15 goals. But every other season since, around that, has been 10, 11, 12, 9 last year, already 6 this year and 5 assists. He's probably on course to beat his numbers from last year. And last year, it was his Premier League winning year, and no one said a bad word about him. So
I'm interested. I see this other comment from Sean that could he make it an 8? I actually kind of don't hate that idea. It is kind of weird to think about him as part of a midfield 3, considering he's been a number 9 for so long. But I think he can link the play. He presses he's one of our best pressers. Now, do we have better
Jones is number 8.
And not for me. Not for me. I'm sorry. Not for me. He's too good in that position, dragging defenders out. If he's there, he's being relied on to be creative, and I don't think he's got the creative. Yeah, but he's not Coutinho, mate. Coutinho's a much. No.
If he plays the 8, that means Naby Keita doesn't play. Is he better than Naby Keita in that number 8? Probably not.
No,
he does run, he does press, but he's not got the awareness to play in an 8. He's never played there before.
I don't think that Klopp would play
a 10, maybe. A 10, maybe.
Would he play a 10? I think he would play him as an 8 if he was to start Bobby still. Because I don't think he's Klopp. We've seen from the injuries, Klopp is not comfortable shifting away from the 4-3-3 with the center forward who gives space for the wingers.
Today did though, in the game today when we was on the ball, he was playing basically Trent, Phillips, and Kabak at the back with Robbo and Salah as wing backs. It was the maddest formation I've ever seen Liverpool play, but it worked. It broke down a back 5 then that we haven't been able to do all season. They set up the same way like West Brom and now have set up against us. And when the teams come out, I thought it's going to be another one of them games, but we seem to have figured out a way to play past the back 5. We've actually got a plan B, lads.
I know. There's a change of shape as well. It's a change, and as I said earlier, it brought more out of Jones and Wijnaldum. They were allowed to be themselves more because Trent and because Robbo and Salah were coming into those roles there. And they could still be creative, and it doesn't mean that they can't be creative. You've seen like the creative prowess of Walker and Cancelo this season. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean that Mo Salah or Robertson are limited. But it gives the freedom to Wijnaldum and Jones to go and be themselves. And that's a massive thing, especially for a young lad like Curtis.
Yeah, this season overall, we've had far too much dependence on the front 3 and specifically Salah to score goals for us. In terms of the amount of goals scored in the Premier League, I forget what the total number is that we've scored. But Salah has, 17 of our 47, which is a hefty percentage. And so when he's not firing, when he's being marked tightly, we struggle. And so I think giving midfielders more leeway to score because Trent and Robertson don't score goals, but getting midfielders like Jones who can get on the action is a big deal. So I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to Chelsea now. They drew 0-0 today, but they're unbeaten in 9 under Thomas Tuchel. How are we feeling about that? Obviously, he's got a little bit of an adverse record at Anfield, but so do Liverpool at the moment. So
I was feeling more confident about the Chelsea game before this game, to be honest. I think Jurgen Klopp's got the beating of Thomas Tuchel because Thomas Tuchel's Jurgen Klopp's prodigy. He knows his systems inside out.
What are you saying, Jack?
I don't know how I feel about Chelsea because they're really tough to gauge. They remind me a lot right now of when Van Gaal was at Man United, where they have a lot of the ball, not a lot of the cutting edge, and can kind of play a bit dull. So I'm really interested in how we play because I don't know how deep they're going to sit against us. But when teams play high off their line, Leipzig, Salah and Mane won. So I think there's reason for optimism because I know it's tough to say it right now because we've lost to Everton, Man City, and Leicester in our last 5. Anthony, my guy Anthony. It's tough to say that we're good against big sides, but traditionally we are. So I think there's always reason for optimism. And I do agree with Matty, actually. I'm not quite sure I'm as confident in his ability for Klopp to shut down his protege, but I definitely think that it's a match that if we win, obviously we pass them back in the table. And I think we need to win that because I think they're going to pick up a lot of points for the rest of the season. And it's going to be a tough battle because Leicester, I know they lost today, but they're still 6 clear of us. So us trying to catch Leicester and Man United to make it a 2 slots almost is tough for me. So I think it's a really important match, and I have optimism, but I've had optimism after the West Ham and the Spurs games, and after the Leipzig game, and I can't handle much more heartbreak. So that's
got our positivity though, and I know it is.
We're going to win Chelsea. I know 4-0 Chelsea. Going to beat them.
I'll rate that. You did say 7-0 earlier, so you're a little bit overestimated.
when I aim big, we win. I think I said 5-0 against Leipzig. Yeah, so if I aim big, we win. So 7-0, I'll go with Chelsea.
I love that. Obviously, the threats that Chelsea do bring. It looks like Giroud picked up a little bit of a knock today. I don't know whether he would play and how much of an impact he would have on it. But they still, don't forget, have a man who scored 28 goals for Leipzig last season, and we can't forget that. However out of form he is, and they also have Tammy Abraham, who is a lethal finisher as well.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I know Werner didn't start today against Man United, but the idea of him going up against Kabak for pace, it does scare me a little bit. Kabak is...
Fabinho will be back for that game, will he not?
Say that again?
Fabinho will be back for Chelsea, will he not?
Will Klopp stick Fabinho back in the center of defense? I'm afraid he will.
Yeah.
I don't think so, you know. I think he'll play Kabak Davies and put Fabinho in front of them.
Kabak Phillips, surely, though? Not Kabak Phillips?
Yeah. In fact, Kabak Phillips. Too big of a gains for Davies into it. Sorry, but I'd put Fabinho in a 6. I honestly don't think that centre back pairing done bad today.
Yeah,
and Timo Werner, whatever Chelsea do to strikers, they just ruin them. They ruined Fernando Torres. Now they're ruining Timo Werner.
Go ahead,
I'd love to agree with you, but I think he's going to grow and he's going to get better in that Chelsea team. But we've got to hope that he doesn't turn up at Anfield. And it is about winning at Anfield, boys. I never thought I'd say this because after 68 games or whatever it was unbeaten, we've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, like a London bus, but double, or it's like you wait and then 2 come at once instead of 4 just hit you in the middle of the street.
Yeah,
we've got to win at Anfield at some point again, haven't we? And Liverpool always turn up against the big teams. In Big 6 mini league this year, we've only been beat by City.
I think you mentioned that they always turn up against big teams. Leicester, Everton, maybe not Everton. Let's forget Everton never happened.
Even Leicester on a big team. They got knocked out the Europa League by a nobody the other day.
Yeah, but we're not the Champions League by a club who's 12 years old, boys.
They're both ahead of us on the table, Man City and Leicester. Those were good performances until the wheels fell off. The wheels didn't fall off today. We didn't concede, which is a very dumb statement to make, that if you don't concede, you'll have a good chance of getting a result. But we didn't have any morale-deflating moments. Adrian didn't have a mistake in him. Kabak didn't have a mistake in him like he did against Everton. So because of that, we were able to actually have some more time to work ourselves into the game. So the key against Chelsea is just do not make a mistake. Make them earn the result at Anfield. If we can do that, I'm very confident. But if we have a relapse, but if Alisson's back, if Yoda's back, I know
Jota is not going to be back. He's got appendicitis. If he's got appendicitis, he's gone for a month at least, which is just so unbelievably unlucky. I mean, it's like the football guys are just like, nah. But I got a scar right here from when I had appendicitis, and I'll tell you, I was out of school for 2 months, so that was nice. Come
on, you're any time, can't you? Like you could literally wake up in the middle of the night and have it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it was actually quite fun because I had a hospital ward to myself, right? And I had a telly and a Wii, and I was loving my life. But it won't be as nice for Diogo. But at least you can stream some FIFA, you know.
Is that confirmed? The injury, is it confirmed in appendicitis?
It's pretty much
as good as confirmed. Yeah, as good as.
It's sort of like when we saw Thiago coming in, and then the Echo was still denying it. It's sort of like, yeah, we know, lads, we know.
I mean, if they can do keyhole surgery, he'll be back sooner, wouldn't he? It depends if they burst or not, or if they were about to burst. So maybe a month, maybe 3 weeks, who knows? But or people are saying it's because he leaked the.
Ben.
What?
Yes, Ben. What's happening here? So
if he's fit for Chelsea, do you think he has been taken out like people are saying because he leaked the Adrian starting thing with the fantasy football?
That'd be so funny. That'd be actually kind of funny,
mate. That is yes.
It's not his fault though, really, is it? That he's took Alisson out of the team. If you're playing fantasy footy, why would you leave Alisson in who's not starting? It's just common sense.
So Ben, what have you heard? What have you heard about it, mate? Because I've literally only seen appendicitis everywhere. Like that's all I've seen. So Fabinho and Jota should be okay. Oh, boy!
Chelsea 7-0. It's coming.
It's all coming up Millhouse, boys. It's all coming up Millhouse. Let's go.
I think we're class at Chelsea.
Does Yoda start over Firmino if he's fit?
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, no. He comes on. If we need him, because I don't again give him the Naby treatment. Like ease him back in. I don't know. You can't start him straight away because that's what we've gone wrong with some people.
Okay. I'm reading a tweet from Kyle O'Neill. Klopp confirms Yoda should be back, and says Fabinho should be close to being back too.
Get in, boys. Right. What else? What else have we got to discuss after this game?
We have nothing to discuss, Chris. We have one thing to watch, though. Get the
okay. Are we all ready? Are we all ready, ladies and gentlemen?
Get it out.
Now, I would like to disclose that if you are aroused watching this, then you should go and get help.
God. And get going.
Watch this, boys. I'm on it.
He's only put it off like 6 weeks on.
He's had it since I think like for a long time. All right.
Are you ready, boys? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready, Matt. You ready?
I'm not. I don't think the crowd are ready. Have we got anyone in the? If you got a comment, let me know. What have I got going on?
Ben saying, "So glad he didn't miss it." I'll read them out too. Don't worry.
We ready? How long do you reckon I can hula hoop for?
All right, let's go for a minute. So I'm gonna count you down from 5. You ready?
19 minutes for 2 weeks before.
All right, Chris.
All right, we ready?
Yep. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah. How long do you reckon I'm going for, boys? Oh shit! No!
Oh god! He embarrassed himself. Oh my god!
No.
Oh no!
No! I can't.
You didn't know I could do, to be honest. I probably couldn't even get it right once.
It was a shambles. He's yeah. You know what? I'm with Anthony. We're all with Anthony. Just sheer anger with you.
It's disgusting. But I tell you what, I'm going to keep it up. Like it's a bit like. Right, I'm not going to say this, but it's a bit like another part of my life. I can only do it for a few seconds and it's done. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, very impressive. Well done.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, Barnaby.
The duality of man.
Dan, I promised if we won, I'd hula hoop, and it happened. All right?
We can tell Dan's just chilling, just seeing you hula hoop.
Like just tuned in, no contact. They just see.
You just say, "Man, Dan, you're waffling, lad. I'm not very good at all. It's not happening." I lost it for about 5 or 6 seconds, mate.
Ridiculous.
I would just like to say thank you, Barnaby. You've got a really good taste in hula hoopers.
I'd like to say, Barnaby, what are you doing here? This is a channel for people with good taste, not people who lie. There are no liars on this channel. Don't lie for his ego.
My ego is as big as my head, mate, and it's huge.
Well, here's the thing, Chris. Actually, here's the thing in your defense. If every match we win, I don't care if you're busy during post match. You have to show up for at least like 2 minutes and and just get better. So by the end of the season, you're going for like 5 minutes. And I
don't want you to show up for 2 minutes, mate. I'll be here for about 5 or 6 seconds. That's my cameo, boys. I'm gone.
By the end of the next season, you do it every match. We're not even going to have a 30-minute post match. We're just going to have you hula hooping for 30 minutes. And it's just going to be like some music playing as you're just whirling around.
What would you say? Right, best music for me to hula hoop to? It's got to be non-copyrighted.
I have no idea.
We could put some KSI on in the background.
Just have your own beat. Make your own beat.
Make my own beat. I'm not sure I'm that talented, mate. I'm not sure I'm that talented. Pre-game, Anthony, that can't happen. What if we lose? I'm like a right idiot.
Yeah, I don't think an idiot, but if you did it before a match, like for luck, and then we lost, it'd be instant to blame you.
Matty, Matty's got to have his own little thing now. You know what I mean? He's got his Curtis Jones love, but I've got my hula. You've got to have some sort of physical action, mate. You've got to have something.
Matty, I think we're good. I think Chris is a little.
Nah, you're waffling. You're waffling, Jack. You're waffling. Nah, I reckon Matty can pull out a nice floss.
I'll do that. I'll do some tricks with Big Verge on the bag if we win or something.
Elite. We love to see it. That's why you come here to this channel, is to see this sort of stuff. And Barnaby, yes, we are going to win.
Going to win the Champions League.
It's our year.
The Champions League, 100%. Nailed on 7 times. It's coming home.
It's coming home. And we're Scouts, not English, mate. Not having that. Not having it. We're not. It's not coming home. It's not. Oh, let's go on to that. Actually, I like to talk about the Euros. If they're being held in England, does Anfield host anything?
I hope not.
No,
I hope not. England is. I don't watch England, me. Don't watch any of the international football. Big load of my ass. I just can't. I just think it's stupid. There's no point in it. I'm not bothered about the Euros. To be honest with you, I hope someone like Woody Tunisia or someone wins the Euros. Not bothered.
Tunisia.
Are they even in it?
If Tunisia,
the African country, should win the Euros.
Turkey's in it. Got the same flag.
Tunisia is a country in North Africa.
Oh.
Clip it.
I failed geography. I got kicked out of geography when I was in year 9. So.
Clip it, please.
Nah, I'd like to see like a mad team win the Euros. As long as England don't get anywhere decent, so I don't have to listen to people saying now it's going to come home and see people in the Wetherspoons throwing the pints when someone scores a goal. I just don't care. As long as England go out in the group, it's a success for me.
I think actually, I would argue the opposite. I don't agree with you. I quite like international football, but
Jack,
as an American, we missed the last World Cup. Like
Jack,
we have
stinky opinion.
I actually quite like it when they make it further. Like if I want to see Man United fail, I don't want to see them like finish and get relegated. I want to see them be top of the table for the entire season and then just fall off at the last bit because it's the hope that truly kills you.
I'm going to Harden. I am going to Harden if they win the Euros.
I'd actually really like, and this sounds because I am English, but I would quite like Wales to do well because I'm going to be living in Wales at that point. So I kind of want to be surrounded by the atmosphere. I'll put on a Welsh accent. I'll be lovely, and then I'll be loving my life. I'll be there getting steaming. In terms of Liverpool players playing for England, I'd rather none of them, to be honest. Like.
I hope that there's a good chance. There's a I don't know if I'm not going to go into politics, but something's happened within like the Labour constituency in Liverpool, and there's a good chance that Liverpool could end up going independent because there's a new party running. So if we end up independent, we literally are Scouse, not English. So they're not playing for England; they can play for the Republic of Liverpool.
Trent Curtis leading that side out.
No, don't care.
Leave him at home.
Curtis won't play for England as good as he is. Let's be realistic here. Phil Foden's going to start ahead of Curtis Jones in the Euros. Curtis Jones isn't getting into that England team because it's all fixed.
Trent and Henderson, I think, start, and Gomez, when fit, would start.
I would argue Trent doesn't start because he stays at home for me. He stays at home. And that's how it is, just purely because of the other options that they have. And I think, to be honest, for England, in the games that I have seen, Trippier hasn't let them down. So, however rubbish he is, and But in terms of like actual England, if you do watch England, no one really, if you're around from the areas, especially in England, that don't like England in that respect.
On Dan's comment, should Jones be called up to the England squad? I honestly hope that Curtis Jones has a similar England career to Robbie Fowler, and the inner Tochi in him is just like. Nah.
Oh yeah, Barnaby. Don't get me wrong. I think he's the best right back in the world, right? But I 100% don't want him playing.
Gareth Southgate loves Trippier too much.
I just love how Barnaby was gassing up your hula hooping and then immediately just cuts him back down to earth.
Let's be honest. Look at England. Robbie Fowler didn't really get played for England. It's the most corrupt. It's the FA, the corrupt, sod them. Like, I don't care about England. Me, I'd rather Trent stay at home doing photo shoots with Red Bull or something and go to the Euros.
And then another one that's interesting.
Holland.
Another one that's interesting is
promo video with Holland when we sign him. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, another one. And Ox is an interesting one because he's versatile as anything.
Yeah,
but he's always played well for England.
He doesn't get in the doesn't get in the England squad anymore. He doesn't even get in. I don't even think he gets into the Liverpool team anymore.
I don't think he gets in the Liverpool 18.
Leave the man alone.
Who on earth does he replace in that midfield, Chamberlain?
Oh, he doesn't. But in certain games, you do need those options. You need rotation options. And he plays everywhere. Plays everywhere, mate. He plays everywhere.
I like the Ox, but I don't think he's going to Euros. England have got ultimately the second golden generation on right now, and just going to flop again. So
yeah,
Forza Holland.
Exactly. I think that's a good place to end, unless anyone else has got anything to say.
I'm just happy that we won.
Yeah, get in the mighty Reds. You've seen me hula hoop. You've seen us natter a while for 40 minutes. Come on, the Reds. Final words, Matty.
Curtis Jones is the next captain of the Liverpool Football Club.
Jack?
Naby Keita is the best midfielder in the Premier League.
Jackie's boss, Curtis Jones is.
And from me, make sure you tune in next week to see me hula hoop against Chelsea. And on that, we'll see you all in a bit. Thank you very much for tuning in.
See you in a bit.